Hey everyone, welcome back to Seniors Money, the channel that helps retirees and soon-to-be retirees make the most of their money in their golden years. I'm your host Michael, and today we got a bombshell announcement to cover that could significantly improve the financial situation for millions of Canadian retirees living on a fixed income. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau just revealed that the federal government will be increasing old age security payments by a whopping $3,800 per month across the board. This is huge news that stands to lift countless seniors out of poverty and into a more comfortable retirement. We're going to break down all the details of this proposed OAS increase, who qualifies, when it would take effect if approved, and what it could mean for your retirement finances. This is info you won't want to miss, so let's dive right in. Imagine waking up tomorrow to a 400% raise in your monthly income from the government. For millions of Canadian retirees struggling to make ends meet on reduced fixed incomes after leaving the workforce, that's essentially what this proposed $3,800 per month increase to OAS payments would amount to. The current maximum OAS payment for the 2023 to 2024 year is just $687 per month. So we're talking about a raise from less than $700 to a staggering $4,487 in total monthly OAS income if this plan goes through. For a single senior, that additional $3,800 could be absolutely life-changing. But even for a couple where both spouses receive the maximum OAS, we're still looking at an extra $7,600 per month being injected into their household income. Just let those numbers marinate for a moment. An increase of that magnitude would instantly relieve tremendous financial stress and hardship for low-income retirees just scraping by. It would allow them to actually enjoy their golden years instead of watching every penny and inevitable dipping into meager savings. So how did this surprise announcement from PM Trudeau about supercharging OAS benefits come about? And what are the actual details and implications? Let's take a closer look. For some context, the Old Age Security Program provides a modest monthly income for most Canadians aged 65 and older. However, the current maximum payment of just $687 per month is nowhere near enough for a comfortable retirement, especially in this age of high inflation and soaring costs of living. According to advocacy groups, over 600,000 Canadian seniors were living in poverty as of 2021, and those stark numbers don't even account for the millions more who are just scraping by right on the poverty line and having to make tough choices between things like heating or eating. Critics have long argued that OAS payments are woefully inadequate and need to be increased significantly to align with the true cost of living that retirees face in this country. In his address, Prime Minister Trudeau acknowledged that previous OAS increases over the years haven't kept up with reality faced by retirees living on fixed incomes. He stated that the modest payments were leaving too many vulnerable seniors behind and huddled in the cold and facing impossible choices about which bills to pay. To rectify this situation, Trudeau announced that if re-elected, his government would implement an immediate and permanent increase to the OAS payment of $3,800 per month across the board, regardless of income level. So who exactly would qualify for this proposed $3,800 per month OAS increase? The short answer is that anyone currently receiving OAS payments would automatically have their monthly benefit raised to the new maximum level of $4,487. You don't need to be basing below any income threshold or reapply. This substantial increase would apply equally to low-income seniors struggling in poverty, as well as more affluent retirees with healthy nest eggs and additional income streams. In the PM's view, making the increase universal and not means-tested simplifies the process and avoids creating additional red tape or stigma. All seniors age 65 and up who meet basic OAS eligibility rules around legal status and residency periods would qualify. For those not currently receiving OAS because you haven't yet turned 65, you'd start receiving the full $4,487 per month once you reach that age milestone and apply. Another key detail is that this wouldn't replace or impact other government benefits for low-income seniors like the Guaranteed Income Supplement. So qualifying retirees could receive the new enhanced OAS payment on top of any GS amounts they already get. Let's talk about just how impactful an OAS increase of this magnitude could truly be for Canadian retirees and their families. We're looking at one of the most significant expansions of financial support for seniors in this country's history. For context, raising the OAS payment from $687 to $4,487 per month would work out to an extra $45,600 per year for single seniors or $91,200 for couples both receiving the full amount. According to Statistics Canada, The median total income for senior families was just $63,200 in 2019. So for a low-income senior currently getting by on the basics of CPP and OAS alone, this policy would essentially triple their annual income overnight. Having that much supplementary monthly cash flow could mean the difference between living in abject poverty versus being able to afford basic dignity in retirement. Things like paying for proper housing, utilities, and groceries without constant worry, covering medical costs and medications more comfortably, leaving the house occasionally for recreation and social activities, no longer having to make devastating choices between food or heat, being able to provide small gifts for grandkids or chip in per family, setting aside some modest savings as a buffer. This increase could also alleviate some of the financial burden for families having to pitch in and support their parents or grandparents. It gives vulnerable seniors a chance at independence and breathing room in their later years. Beyond the obvious benefits for impoverished retirees, the OAS boost would substantively raise the standard of living for a wide swath of middle-class seniors as well. One important caveat with this proposed OAS increase is that it would be considered fully taxable income by the Canada Revenue Agency. So retirees would have to pay income tax on the full $3,800 per month like they currently do on their existing OAS payments. The federal government estimates this would generate around $25 billion per year in new tax revenue from seniors' incomes to help offset the cost of boosting OAS payouts. For lower-income seniors, the taxable part isn't really an issue since they likely don't have much other income to tax in the first place. But more affluent retirees could see a larger portion of their enhanced OAS payments clawed back. Those earning over $79,000 per year, including the new OAS amounts, would potentially face higher tax rates up to 29%. So their actual take-home increase might only be around $2,700 extra per month rather than the full $3,800. Still, that's a hugely significant raise in retirement income for the majority of Canadian seniors, even after paying some taxes on the larger OAS payments. Of course, a move to massively increase OAS payouts to this degree would also strain government finances and the public purse. Critics from the opposition have already come out firing about the estimated $88 billion per year price tag. Detractors argue that nearly doubling the OAS budget from around $50 billion currently to almost $140 billion under this proposal would place an untenable burden on Canadian taxpayers, especially younger workers footing the bill. In his address, Prime Minister Trudeau countered that the long-term costs of allowing widespread senior poverty and destitution across Canada would be even higher through increased medical costs and strain on social services. He stated that Canadian seniors built this country through hard work over their lifetimes, and that they deserve to live out retirement with financial security and dignity after that lifetime of contributing. The PM is essentially positioning this OAS increase as an investment in taking care of Canada's elders. Still, questions remain about how to fund such a massive expansion of OAS in a fiscally sustainable way over the long run. Trudeau also proposed introducing the new annual senior support tax of 1% on all corporate revenues and profits generated by businesses operating in Canada. He argued that Canadian companies have a duty to support the financial well-being of the seniors who've helped build this country through their lifetimes of labor. A 1% tax on profits is a small price for corporations to pay to uplift millions of elders out of poverty. The government estimates this new corporate tax could generate over $20 billion per year in revenues to go directly towards funding enhanced OAS payments. Of course, both of these proposed tax measures, higher CPP and a new corporate tax, would face stiff opposition from industry groups and fiscal conservatives. But the Prime Minister stressed that bold steps must be taken to uphold Canadian values of caring for our aging population with dignity. With a looming federal election coming up in October 2024, this OAS increase has suddenly become one of the hottest issues on the campaign trail. The Prime Minister is staking his government's plan to boost retirement incomes as a key pillar and selling point for re-election. Opposition parties have pushed back hard, slamming the OAS hike as an unaffordable tax and spend scheme that will bankrupt the nation. For seniors advocacy groups, this proposal represents a potential dream scenario after decades of having stretched retirement incomes ignored. They are amping up campaigns to mobilize the historically powerful senior voting bloc. With retirees comprising over 18% of the electorate, no party can afford to be seen as insensitive to the financial struggles facing this critical demographic. The OAS increase stakes are high for all sides. So when could Canadian retirees actually start seeing bigger OAS payments in their monthly checks if this proposal goes through? Here's a quick look at the tentative timeline. If re-elected in October 2024, the Prime Minister stated his government would move to pass legislation for the OAS increase in early 2025. After allowing time for the regulatory and administrative processes, the enhanced $4,487 OAS payments could begin being issued as soon as July 2025. This would mean retirees would start receiving full $3,800 top-up amounts retroactive for those first 6 to 7 months of 2025. For low-income seniors, those initial lump sum retroactive payments could provide an impactful injection of funds to pay off debts or cover overdue expenses. So that's a rough roadmap of how this historic change to OAS could start taking effect within the next 12 months if the Prime Minister's plan becomes reality after the next election cycle. While the prospect of a $3,800 per month raise in OAS payments is understandably exciting for many Canadian retirees, this proposal hasn't been without its critics and controversies. As mentioned, the political opposition has blasted the high cost and tax hikes required as unaffordable overreach that will hamstring the economy. Some economists have warned that flooding so much new income into the consumer economy could actually worsen inflation pressures in the short term. There are also concerns about disincentivizing retirement savings if people know they can receive such generous OAS benefits regardless of private income. Seniors advocates have pushed back against the universality, arguing higher-income retirees don't need as large of an increase compared to poverty-stricken elders. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation has slammed the proposal as a form of elder electoral bribery meant to buy senior votes with their own money. Means testing has been proposed to target the increase only to lower-income retirees below certain income thresholds to reduce costs. Whether you view this proposed $3,800 per month increase to OAS payments as an irresponsible burden on taxpayers or a much-needed lift for struggling seniors likely depends on your personal circumstances and political leanings. For millions of low-income Canadian retirees just squeaking by, having their monthly income essentially quadrupled could be absolutely transformative in being able to afford basic dignities like housing, healthcare, and utilities without constant stress. For more affluent seniors who worked hard to build up healthy nest eggs, the OAS boost could allow them to live more comfortably in retirement without eroding those savings as quickly. On the other hand, the staggering $88 billion annual price tag and required tax hikes to raise legitimate questions around fiscal prudence and sustainability, especially with an aging population. No matter where you stand, this is shaping up to be one of the most significant and hotly debated issues of the upcoming federal election that could drastically impact retirement finances for an entire generation of Canadian seniors. I encourage all of you to study the plans from all parties, listen to expert analysis, and ultimately vote for the policy vision that best aligns with your own financial needs and values heading into your golden years. This has been a heated issue, and I'm sure I'll be catching some flack in the comments. But I always strive to deliver fair, balanced information to you, my seniors money community. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.